What it do, YouTube, man? We are back with episode 2 of the greatest NBA teams of all time, the tier list, baby. We're going to go ahead and get into this one, picking up exactly where we left off, man. I hope y'all guys did enjoy that last video. I did. There's some teams I would have moved around a little bit, moved them higher or lower, but I guess I can understand his, his thought process as well. So, again, that is his point and my point. You can have different teams and still consider you get what I'm saying? Like, you still can be on the same thing. So let's go ahead and get into this one.
Greatest NBA teams of all time tier list. If you didn't watch part 1, it'll be right at the top of the screen. But without further ado, let's get started. Now for the 1982-1983 Philadelphia 76ers Sub-GOAT championship team. This team went 12-1 inside the NBA playoffs. That was probably their biggest feat on the stat sheet, in my opinion. But this team was very stacked with stars. They had pretty good depth too. They had really good depth inside their starting lineup. They didn't really have a great end of the bench, but then again, you don't really use your end of the bench inside the playoffs. That's why they went 12-1. But they had a very good regular season record as well, going 65-17. Now for the 1983-1984 Boston Celtics, gonna go elite championship teams again. Didn't make a massive jump from the 81-82 season in my opinion, so I'm good with them there. Now for the 1984-1985 Los Angeles Lakers, I'm gonna go ahead.
Bro, hold the phone. Hold the phone. Put it down. Yo, now you bugging out. I'm being real with him. Like, yo, that team, that 84 team, you mad bugging if you don't think they're at least sub-champ GOAT. At least sub-GOAT. The depth on that team was amazing. The coaching on that team was amazing. The star power on that team was amazing. The wins were amazing. Everything about that team was amazing. So, I don't know. Yo, he wilding, bro. I mean, again, it's his opinion, but sometimes opinions are stupid. How about that?
Go ahead and put them in the sub-GOAT championship teams.
Come on, you gonna put the Lakers?
This was debatably their prime team.
They
just had so many good players, it was ridiculous. James Worthy, Byron Scott.
So you basically basing it on star power.
Michael Cooper, Kurt Rambis, Jamal Wilkes, who was getting up there.
I'm not saying it wasn't.
He was still
like, come on, bro. I'm not saying this team ain't great, but I'm getting
bucket,
mad.
In my opinion. Bob McAdoo. This team was really fucking good, and they deserve to be on that second tier. For the 85-86 Boston Celtics, this was the prime of that dynasty.
Both of those teams, bro.
There were not many.
Both of those teams should have been on that. Both of those teams.
If any team's better than this team. This is a team that had a 9.2 net rating inside the regular season.
Hey, got him, man.
10.4 net rating inside the playoffs.
Got him, yeah.
They went 67-15 in the regular season and 15-3 in the playoffs. This team was star-studded. They had
Kevin
pretty
McHale,
good depth, not
Larry
compared
Bird,
to the Lakers,
Danny Johnson,
but they did
Robert
have
Parrish,
that knock
Danny
with the star
Ainge,
power over them slightly.
Jerry Stott,
and this team was
Bill
just
Walton.
absolutely unstoppable at the time. Now we're going to go back to back here with the 86-87 Lakers. This was the prime of their careers. GOAT championship teams. Same song and dance with the 1985-1986 Boston Celtics.
Okay.
This is a team that had a 9.1 net rating
I think that was the greatest two teams.
And an 11.3 net rating inside the playoffs. They went 15-3 in the playoffs, and they had a regular season record of 65-17. This team was absolutely insane. And although Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who as we know is debatably the greatest player of all time, although he was on his downturn of his career, this was the deepest the team was ever. And of course they had James Worthy, who is at this point the superstar, and of course Magic Johnson, who had been a superstar for a while. I guess same goes with James Worthy. But they had
Scott,
so many good role
like
players,
that.
from Michael Cooper to Byron Scott. Those guys were just absolutely insane this season. Now for my boys, the bad boys. I wouldn't really call them my boys. I'm not a Pistons fan, but you know, I did like the bad boy Pistons team.
Both of those teams, they're both elite. They're both elite teams. I think those teams were both star-studded. I think they had a decent coaching staff. Bench-wise, they legit. The what made Detroit so good was that you could change anybody out. Like, you could mix and match with that team. Like, you can put Isaiah in, take Isaiah out, put Dennis up there. You can take Dennis out and put, like, they were interchangeable, and it was really something to imagine. So for me, I would say both of those teams are either elite or sub-GOAT. So one of those two. I really would never put them lower than that, just because the way that they played the game was amazing. I don't really bash them too much for how they played. I know a lot of people are like, yo, they played the game dirty, but it's a dirty business when you want to be the champion. So you get what I'm saying? So that's why I would put them.
They are going inside the Elite Championship
Okay,
team.
I can deal with that.
Both of them, actually. I may as well go both of them right now. Both of their seasons were very
That
similar.
was
They're
actually
basically
travel.
the same team with, slight differences in both. But, I mean, for the 88-89 team, 6.1 net rating in the regular season, 8.7 net rating in the playoffs. They went 15-2 in the playoffs, and they swept in the finals versus the Los Angeles Lakers. This is a team that had great depth and pretty good star power as well. Exact same goes to the 1989-1990 Detroit Pistons. They did lose a little bit of depth, but they still steamrolled through the playoffs with a 15-5 record. Now for the double three-peat Bulls. We're going to start off with the 1990-1991 Chicago Bulls.
I'm going to go sub on that one. No, I might go elite. That first team was decent, but it wasn't great. And we gotta respect that. That first three-peat team was decent, but it wasn't great. It was that second three-peat team that we were like, yo, shit is heating up in Chicago. Like, how did they get all of them together like that? So I'm gonna go elite on this one.
Elite championship teams.
Okay.
This is Michael Jordan's prime, and he won, of course, his first championship ever. Scottie Pippen was not an all-star this season. He was the only technically all-star in the entire roster, but he was really that good to lead this team to that good of a record, being 61-21, and of course the NBA championship. Same song and dance with the 1991-1992 Chicago Bulls. I don't really need an explanation for there.
Yeah.
Now the 1992.
The 92-93, which was I consider the best year of the Bulls because it was right before the whole, Mike leaving. We're going to go GOAT championship.
1993 Chicago Bulls. That was a slight step back in my opinion.
That was my favorite year. That was my favorite. I mean, maybe it's because the competition wasn't so great and they didn't have the greatest, what's the name either. So, goddamn. Standings. They didn't have the greatest standings. Maybe that's the reason why. Okay.
Elite championship team. Three-peats take a large toll on your body, so I don't blame them for only being a 57-win team this season.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Because they were probably really fucking
That's what I thought.
Three-peating.
That's what I was thinking. Like, okay, maybe he's going off of the fact that they didn't win as much as they. Okay, and that's understandable. So I guess, but to me, I still think that team was amazing.
Takes a lot of effort
on the board alone. Like on this alone, this looks amazing.
Stamina to do, but this team just wasn't quite as good as the previous two teams. Now, of course, as Michael Jordan retired, there was a little opening, and the Houston Rockets took that opportunity and won two championships. Yeah. They weren't that good of a team to really be on this list, so I kind of left them off. But we have the 1995-1996 Chicago Bulls, and do I really need to do any explaining? I would have put one of those
Rocket teams on there.
Come on. This is what most people consider the greatest team of all time, and I have absolutely nothing against that. This is a team that had a 13.4 net rating inside the regular season and a 12.1 net rating inside the playoffs. They went 72-10 in the season. That's, of course, the second greatest regular season record of all time, behind the 73-9 Warriors. And they went 15-3 inside the playoffs. This was the prime of that dynasty, and this team absolutely ran the league.
Look at that. Leg Longley, Jesus Christ, dog. Ron Harper, dog. Steve Kerr, double dog. Oh, my God. Bill, dog. Dog. Oh, my God. Oh, I went too far. I couldn't see down there. James Irwin. He wasn't that good to me. But I'm not even going to go these three of them, because we know them dogs, nigga. What did you say?
This season, and I guess the following two seasons.
What did you say?
With the next season, we have another Chicago Bulls team. Obviously, this team was very similar to the previous. But definitely sub-GOAT championship teams. I can't really put them inside the GOAT championship teams. They just weren't as good as that 95-96 Bulls team, but they were still absolutely outstanding. Now for the last year of Michael Jordan's career,
GOAT championship.
We have the 1997-1998 Chicago Bulls elite championship teams. Well, it was not, you know what I mean.
Bro, that is the beautiful close of a chapter of a freaking book. What are you talking about, son? Yo, what are you saying?
But this is when their core players started getting old, Dennis Rodman, Scottie Pippen, and Michael Jordan. And basically their entire roster was starting to get up there in age, so they just weren't what they used to be.
But it's still
obviously
amazing.
One of the greatest teams to ever play. Now for the 1999-2000 Los Angeles Lakers sub-elite championship teams. This team is absolutely amazing. They didn't have the depth that a lot of the teams above them did.
You're right.
But they of course had the two stars in prime Shaq and up-and-coming
Derek
Kobe.
Fisher.
So I'm good with putting them there.
Harper.
Now for the 2000-2001 and 2001-2002 Lakers,
I would go
I'm fine
sub-GOAT.
putting them both together, both inside the ultra high tier championship teams. All right, so as a wee bit retarded in putting the 2000-2001 Lakers in the ultra high tier championship teams. The stats speak for themselves. Definitely a sub-elite championship teams. For the final result, it'll be fixed. Don't worry. Weren't quite as good as the 1999-2000 Los Angeles Lakers, in my opinion. I just don't think that they had the depth that team did. And they still kind of had the same star power. Because although Kobe was getting better as his career went on, Shaq was getting slightly worse, so it kind of evened it out. Now for the 2002-2003 San Antonio Spurs. This is the season where David Robinson retired, obviously on the championship.
I would go high.
Sub-elite championship teams. This team was pretty similar to the 1999-2000 Los Angeles Lakers in the case where it didn't have supreme depth or anything, especially like the later San Antonio teams. But of course they had David Robinson, who was on the tail end of his career. Well, it was his last season, so obviously it was the tail end of his career. But of course they had Tim Duncan,
Tony
who's
Parker,
just absolutely insane.
Manu Ginobili.
Now for the 2004-2005 San Antonio Spurs. This was really Tim Duncan's prime, and this is when Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker were becoming stars.
What's up?
Elite championship team. This is, in a lot of people's opinion, the best team
high
of all
ratings,
time.
Because I'm like, yo, what?
Spurs team of all time. Because although the Spurs were mainly known as a playoff team with Greg Popovich obviously leading the way, this is a team that had a net rating of 8.7 in the regular season and 4.9 inside the playoffs, so pretty damn good, and they went 16-7 inside the 2005 NBA playoffs. Now, next up, not sure why it's out of order here, but we have the 2006-2007 San Antonio Spurs. In my opinion, the best San Antonio Spurs team. Pretty close to the 13-14 Spurs, but they're a pretty similar team to the 2004-2005 San Antonio Spurs, but they just had more depth inside their starting lineup as Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili kept getting better. But this team is obviously outstanding too, and basically, the same tier. Now for the 2007-2008 Boston Celtics.
I'm going to go sub-elite.
Very good team. Elite championship team for sure.
I don't know.
With any of the best teams on this list, but it's definitely better.
You still had, what's name coming into his feet? What's the boy's name right there? The one that played with LeBron. Not Ray Allen, the other one. God, it's right there on the tip of my tongue. He's the guard. He was really good, but I don't know.
Than a lot of the other teams. This team's starting lineup had absolutely no holes. You had Rajon Rondo, you had Ray Allen, you had Paul Pierce, you have Kevin Garnett.
Rajon Rondo, there we go. I don't know.
You had Kendrick Perkins, who,
Big Baby Davis,
he was a good player, come on, but, he's basically a meme now. This team also had really good depth with guys like Eddie House, Tony Allen, James Posey, Tony boy, Allen, and Sam Cassell off the bench. So yeah, this team was really...
I used to love cooking with Tony Allen on 2K. He was
really
cold.
Really good.
But he was raw.
Now for the Miami Heat teams. First off, the 2011-2012 Miami Heat team. The worst of the two, they just didn't have the shooters or the depth that the 2012-2013 Miami Heat had. And of course, I think the better version of LeBron was the 2013 version. So I'm going to put this team as the sub-elite championship teams. This is definitely more of a top-heavy team compared to the 2012-2013 Miami Heat. But their stars were absolutely amazing. Of course, Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, and LeBron James, and they did have some quality role players, but just not compared to the 2012-2013 Miami Heat. And speaking of the devil, of course, they're next, and I'm gonna go ahead and put them in the elite championship teams. That might feel like a bit of disrespect to most people, but I feel like I feel like most people would agree with me with that. You look at the top two tiers, and I just don't feel like this team is on par with those teams. But this team is obviously an all-time great team. They had an 8.6 net rating inside the regular season and a 7.3 net rating inside the playoffs. They went 16-7 in the playoffs, 66-16 regular season record, and they had very good depth. Obviously,
bro,
like
and this is what I be talking about, bro. I hate to get on this, but look at this roster, man. You got Ray Allen. You got Mario Shumpert. I said Shumpert. Bosh. D-Wade. James. These are all players who could have won by themselves on their own teams, respectful teams. That's 5 people. You seen Ray Allen do it by himself. You seen Wade do it by himself. Bosh didn't get there, but he was close. He was close. Mario Chalmers didn't get there, but he was close. And then you got LeBron James. He didn't get there, but he was close. Come on, man. You got to look at
star power.
this.
And of course, Eric Spoelstra, who is proving himself right now inside the NBA, well, inside the conference finals and the conference semifinals to be, one of the better coaches of all time.
Yeah.
Now for the 2013-2014 San Antonio Spurs, the big three, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, and Tim Duncan, they were on their downturn. They were getting older.
I would go elite.
Except for Tony Parker, who is debatably, the best
ultra
player on
high
this team.
tier.
But of
Ultra
course,
high
they
tier.
had Super Kawhi, elite championship teams for sure. This team had
Kawhi
the
was
best
still
depth
coming
of
in his
any San
range.
Antonio Spurs team by far. And, the stars were still stars. They were still Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, and Tony Parker. And they weren't just shell of themselves. They were still a very good player.
Yeah, I guess you're
Now
right.
for the 2014
I'm just like,
2015
Kawhi
Golden
wasn't
State
there
Warriors sub-GOAT championship team. Now, this
that
team is,
cooked
of course, one of those teams
everybody.
who just played absolutely amazing
That
together. And we
team
all know
cooked
the dynasty that they
everybody.
had, or kind of are still having right now. But
I don't
this
know.
is
Okay.
pre-Kevin Durant.
Now we gotta fix that. That right there we gotta fix. Because if you don't think Steve Kerr is a 10 out of 10 coach, you bugging out. Depth was amazing. Star power was with this team. You still had three, and you had Iguodala there, best six man alive right there.
And as we know, this is pre-blow a 3-1 lead to LeBron and the Cavaliers, which we had them
And
as the
Hor-
final team in this list. But definitely a sub-GOAT championship team
Come
in my
on, man.
opinion. And now we have the 2016-2017 Golden State Warriors, which is a GOAT championship team. I mean, this team was absolutely ridiculous. Hate
Yeah.
on them all you want, but this is one of, if not the greatest team of all time. 11.6 net rating inside the regular season, 13.5 net rating inside the playoffs. They went 16-1.
Yeah, that
Inside the
KD team
playoffs.
was amazing.
This team was ridiculous.
Yeah, that team.
Ridiculous. And they still had, good veterans off the bench too.
Yeah.
So it's not like
Look at that lineup. Oh my God, boy! You had three players that was giving you 20 on a bad night. This is a bad night. 20 on a bad night. Three players.
they lost.
That's a crazy
everything
team.
after
That's
filling
half the game right there. That's 60 points.
cap space for Kevin Durant. For the second last team on this list, we have the 2017-2018 Golden State Warriors. Their veterans were getting older, so their bench was definitely lacking compared to the 2016-2017 Warriors.
I
And
will
they
go
did
sub.
have some injuries this season and stuff like
sub.
that. So definitely a sub-GOAT championship team,
Yeah.
which is obviously still amazing. They're one of the best teams in this list, but not top tier
Yeah.
like the 2016-2017 version. Now for the final team on this list, the 2015-2016 Cleveland Cavaliers.
Okay, the only reason why y'all gonna hate me for it. The only reason why I put that as a GOAT championship is because of the team they beat. That's like the only reason. And the way Kyrie did it is the only. It ain't even got nothing to do with LeBron. Like, if LeBron was on the team or not, that's the only reason why I'm gonna put it up there is because of Kyrie. That is a GOAT championship team. That team was stacked, and Kyrie did what it did to close the door. So I'm gonna go GOAT. If he goes sub GOAT, I'm not mad at it. But if he goes anything lower than elite, boy, I'm out of
They're
there.
coming back from 3-1. Almost as good as the Nuggets, 2 3-1s. But it was in the finals, so props to them, but ultra high tier championship teams.
Hell the fuck no. Coaching, you right. Depth, you're wrong. Star power, you're wrong. Like, what? No, boy, no.
This team was insane. I don't want to say insane, but it was a very good.
You had J.R. Smith, Mr. Henny himself. Anything is possible. You got LeBron James, the king, one of the greatest players, the greatest scorer of all time at this point. He got more points than everybody. Okay? You got him. You got Kyrie Irving, Mr. Macaroni Cheese with the chicken strips. You got him on the team. You got Mr. Shumpert, Mr. IQ. He can see everything. Now, Tristan Thompson, great role player. Dumb as a rock, great role player. But come on, man. Nah.
Team, ultra high tier championship
To
team.
beat that Warriors team and say that they were a subpar championship is crazy.
In my opinion, obviously that's why they're there. But this team is nothing special inside the regular season, 6.4 net rating. But they did play very good inside the playoffs with a 9.5 net rating inside the playoffs. They went 16-5. This team didn't have very good depth, but they did have a pretty good starting lineup. And they really weren't obviously as good as that Warriors team, but they were more clutch, and that's why they won the NBA championship, and that is why they're on here. All right, so here is the updated list for part 2 of this little series I did. If you want to see a part 3 with maybe the rest of the championship teams, you know, the ones that'll probably be below most of these teams, let me know down in the comments, but please you know that.
All right, man, that is the end of this video, man. The only thing I really have any arguments with were some of the Bull teams. I didn't appreciate him going that low on some of the Bull teams, on some of them. And mainly it's just a personal aspect. He might be going off of the right way, and I'm not, because it's a personal feeling. So I'm going to take that one and swallow my pride and say, all right. But the only one that me and you really got to, you feel me, get down over is that Cavs team. And I'm not even a Cavs fan. Like, I don't even like LeBron. I fucking hate him. Like, I throw the ones with him if I ever caught him in the alley. If I ever caught him in the alley, I throw ones with him. I throw the ones with him. Real talk. Bing, 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 bing. I don't even care if I lose. I might get dragged. But I'm going to throw the ones with him. But that's blasphemy, dog. And that's as an NBA fan. Bro, that team right there beat the greatest team ever assembled. And you going to put them ultra high? Elite is pushing it. Elite championship is pushing it. Like, I could believe it, but it's pushing it. It's like, yo, you kind of bad having Kyrie like that. Now, Sub, I can understand why you don't want to put him up there with the GOATY. I feel it. It's in my, because they can't compete with that team up there. But they really smoked a team that you put in the Sub-GOAT championship. They smoked it. Now you can say, well, they didn't have KD. Steph was hurt. Clay went out. I don't care. The team lineup is still the team lineup. They smoked him. We gotta give him his flowers there at least. But, man, if y'all guys did enjoy this video, man, and y'all want to see me react to some more stuff like this, man, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn your notifications on so you never miss another solid up, yo. I'll see y'all in a bit, man. Peace.